Alright, let's get started. I have the color, which is known as diffuse. I have the roughness and metallic, which is reflectivity. So if I want to make a surface to be rough, as you can see, I do have some shine and specular on this. So if I go into the roughness and go into the white and then choose a brush that would be ideal, something like paintbrush would be ideal. Gonna increase the brush size and just paint. See how around it has that specular, but on the rough area it's pretty rough. Now let's make it even more interesting. I'll go into the metallic and paint the metallic areas. So now the metallic is actually reflective. It doesn't have that much of a specular. It doesn't have shine because it's more like reflectivity. So what do we get with reflectivity? Or how far can we get for a surface to be reflective? If I go here, maybe a brush like this. I think this is a good brush size. I'm still on the reflective here, or the metallic. So this should be as reflective as it gets. But here's the thing, if you go into a brush, let's say I'm going to choose this one. If you click on it, you can actually view the brush, right, on a 3D sphere. But wait, there's more. If you click on material, you go to metallic and increase that amount of metallic. Scale maybe. Say I'm basically changing the attribute of the brush. Then I'm gonna go into roughness and reduce the roughness all the way there. See that? It's a pretty cool display. So let's try it now. A difference when I paint with this. Again, I am on the metallic. So the attributes of this brush now is guaranteed to give me the maximum reflectivity. Let's say you want to change the theme of the lighting. You can go into the settings, edit lighting and environment. Then you click on environment. Let's say I want to go with a city. And I want to make this to be rough so I can appreciate that surface design of it. One thing to keep in mind is that you get the same features that you get normally with Procreate, which means you click and move, and then as you can see here, that line is going to be locked, and in fact if you click and hold with one finger, it's going to start to snap to 15 degrees. Now all of this is really a lot of fun, but I need to show you the better and faster way to do this. Let's say you really want to do a robust and predictable workflow. I'm going to click on this roughness map, clear. Same for the metallic, clear. Okay, let's get serious now. 2D. So here I'm going to select the texture, swipe down with 3 fingers, copy, and I'm going to go into the roughness. Again, as I mentioned before, if you do have the Photoshop file, then in this case I would only import the gold and throw it into the metallic. So just as an experimentation, I'm going to go into the metallic, then swipe down with 3 fingers and then paste. Now check this out. It's going to import it as grayscale because these are maps. They're supposed to be grayscale because they basically hold data and not for the purpose of their look. So going back into settings, go back to the 3D mode. Let's see what result we have now. It looks kind of different. Let's say I am wrong. I need to actually investigate if it looks different or not. I'm going to open the layers, select on the layer here and hit clear. So yes, it looks different. Okay, we settled that. But there's something else that you should also experiment with. You click and then invert. So that's going to give you the opposite of that effect. Now I'm going to do the same. And again, this is just for experimentation. This is not really the ideal way. And just to explain clearly, like anything that is white, as I mentioned before, it's going to give us the effect of the map. So anything that is white in here is going to be reflective. So most likely I would say this should be inverted like this because that represents the gold. Okay. Then if I go to the roughness, 3 fingers down and then paste. So if I have both of them the same, they would counter each other. So I'm going to invert the roughness. Now let's see if this maybe gives me some cool result. Notice how it's not really ideal, how it's giving me that result, because it's really blending everything together really randomly. So it's not really the right way to do it, but notice how we're getting some roughness there and we're getting some reflectivity there. Let's investigate. Click on the roughness and then clear. See the difference? This is the after. And then clear. As you can see here, the metallic was giving us some really nice edges. So undo. Okay. Now I talked about showing you some strategies that you may definitely want to consider. Let's say you want to try to get the best out of this result and you don't have the Photoshop file or you don't have things layered. Even though Tegan did a good job layering things, but again, I'm trying to make a really good demonstration case to show you as much of the tools that you should be aware of as possible. Okay, so the tool that I want to show you, I'm going to select on color. So I used to dislike how the selection with the automatic is kind of limited because you click and sometimes nothing happens, sometimes you select a lot, but it turns out that you click and hold and move the pen to the right side. This is going to increase the tolerance of the tones and colors of the selection, similar to what I demonstrated in my previous video with tolerance. So now, as you can see, I am able to click and specifically select those golden patterns or decorations. So at least this is some way that can allow me to just select these things. Right? Now that I have a selection, if I click on the brush and if I go into the metallic and paint those, notice how I'm painting here. You could in some cases drop the color, but it's not going to work in this case necessarily because I don't really have a very solid selection. It's really kind of grainy. But let's see what we get in this with this step in the 3D mode. Let's remove the selection. It's either this one, I think either this one or this one here. Yeah, I can clearly feel that reflectivity there. And to double check, I am going to erase one part here. Yeah, indeed. And of course, you can go into the effects now, and you can go, for instance, curves. This is where it gets even more interesting because let's say, for instance, you gave like an ultimate kind of shade where it was really crazy here, right? And you just want to tone it down just a little bit. So you go here into the curves and then you start to fiddle with it to get some really cool fine tuning. All right, so lastly, a few things that I want to mention that are possibly essential. If you go into the 2D texture, let's say you want to export this as a texture, you can go to share, and all the way down, you want to look for share texture and you click on PNG. And here is where it gets even crazier. You click on animated MP4. Check this out. Check this out. It's insane. You can even go full HD. You can even change the animation duration, and you can even change the zoom distance, and you can even change the ease, so it wouldn't feel like too much movement. So this is the rotation. Let's animate a swing. Let's increase the ease. Reduce the distance a little bit. So yeah, it's one of those amazing features that you get out of Procreate. And you click on export and that will be it. Okay, back to the main canvas. If you click on the settings, you go to canvas and then go to reference. In the reference, you can actually see the 2D version. You can of course zoom in and out. So this way it sort of gives you that feeling that you get, or that kind of navigation comfort that you get in more complex software like Substance Painter, where you have an idea of what you're doing, where you're painting. So if I select that diffuse or the color, it shows something obnoxious like this. So you can see right away the result. Sorry, Tegan, I am butchering your cube. But yeah, you can see the result right away. Okay. Of course, you cannot paint here. This is just a reference. Last but not least, this is even more impressive. If you click on the settings and you click on view in AR, this is a must try feature. You would be just amazed. You click on view in AR and you want to make sure that you go to the permission and allow Procreate to open the camera, and it's going to place your object in augmented reality in any space. Like in your room, it would actually analyze the space and it would show you the objects in augmented reality, which is just insanely awesome. This is just incredible. All right, with that said, thank you, Tegan, for the wonderful work, and thanks everyone for watching. See ya.